I'm Vaughn Tan. I'm a strategy professor and consultant working in food and technology. I design tools to help people and teams become more comfortable with uncertainty, and I'm the author of The Uncertainty Mindset, a book about culinary innovation and how businesses can use uncertainty to design themselves to be more innovative and adaptable. I've been a specialist in the restaurant and food industry for over a decade. In this short video, I'll tell you what a business plan really is, why it's important, and how you can start to make one. The successful businesses I've seen are good at business planning and they invest real effort in doing it. But what does it really mean for a business to be successful? A business is successful if it makes enough money and it lets its owners do the work they want to do. Defining success is easy, but achieving it is not. 17% of independent restaurants fail in the first year, 50% of independent restaurants survive for only 4 years, and independent restaurant net profit margins are 2 to 6% industry-wide. Compare that to other industries well known to have low margins, such as supermarkets at 2 to 3%, tourism at 12 to 16%, and agriculture at around 6%. On top of all that, many restaurant owners are actually unhappy. I hated myself, I hated my work, and my food was filled with meaningless ego and negativity. My restaurant was failing. In spite of the immense press we received, we remained mostly empty, often cooking for just a handful of people each night. That was the reality faced by Ari Taimur, the chef owner of Alma, a restaurant which used to be in LA. The reality is, many restaurants neither make you enough money, nor let you do what you love. Proper business planning helps you avoid this trap. Diego Rossi, chef owner of Trippa and Osteria alla Concorrenza in Milan, is one example of how actively planning how a business will work can help you avoid the trap most restaurateurs fall into. Diego took the time to figure out exactly what he did and didn't want from his business, and it's made his business both successful and satisfying for him to run.
Ciao ragazzi, mi chiamo Diego Rossi e da 6 anni sono il proprietario della trattoria Trippa a Milano. Quando ho aperto Trippa ero un po' stanco dei locali stellati e di tutti quei rituali, di quelle convenzioni che si usano in questi fine dining e volevo fare un posto più semplice dove essere più libero e dove esprimermi al massimo. E quindi abbiamo aperto questa trattoria dove lavoriamo 8 ore al giorno, cuciniamo quello che vogliamo, ovviamente per chi vogliamo, perché i nostri clienti ormai si sono affezionati a noi e riusciamo a far vivere i nostri ragazzi in cucina e il nostro personale una vita normale. Insomma, siamo riusciti a trovare l'equilibrio finalmente tra la soddisfazione personale, il divertimento a lavoro, ma anche il profitto economico.
So what is a business plan anyway? A business plan is just a description of the business you want to build and an explanation why you think it will succeed. Business planning is nothing more than an exercise in guessing what your business will be like on paper. The result can be very short and to the point. In fact, the best, most carefully thought through business plans are short because they're very clear about what goals are really important for the business and what the business is willing to give up to achieve those goals. Making a business plan doesn't take months of time, doesn't take special software, and you don't need expensive consultants. All it takes is paying attention, being honest, and facing up to reality. You can do it in 3 steps. First, describe, then reflect, and finally adjust. First, describe your restaurant and be as detailed as you can be. This will mean asking and answering many questions. Where will your restaurant be? How much do you expect each customer to spend? Who do you want your customers to be? How many staff are you expecting to have front and back of house? How much do you want to pay them? How much do you personally need to earn? How much money do you have available to start the restaurant? Do you want to take a loan from a bank or an investment from others? How many services do you want to do? How many days a week do you want to be open? And of course, what kind of food do you want to serve? These are only some of the questions you'll want to answer. The point here is to try and imagine in as much detail as you can the business you want to build and how you'll get there. This part's important. You don't have to get it perfect the first time. All you have to do is get it done. Step 2, reflect on whether what you wrote down makes sense. Opening a large fine dining restaurant in a major city may not work if you don't have millions of dollars to invest yourself and either don't want to or can't raise a loan or investments. Wanting to have a very small team may not work if you're not willing to work most or all services. Being honest with yourself about what trade-offs and sacrifices you're willing to make is key to writing a strong business plan. As you reflect, you'll realize that you'll have to adjust and change parts of your description of the restaurant you want to build. Do you really want a 100-seat fine dining restaurant in a big city? Or would a 20-seat fine dining restaurant in a smaller city make you happier? Are you willing and able to work every service to ensure the quality level essential for a fine dining restaurant? Or would you prefer to run a neighborhood restaurant with a team you can trust so you can take some services off? Do you really want external investors or a bank loan to start a big restaurant project? Or would you rather self-fund and have full control over a much smaller restaurant or even a food truck or pop-up project to start with? Describing what you really want, reflecting on it, and changing your description based on your reflections can help you and your restaurant be better prepared to adapt and succeed even when you encounter setbacks along the way. Let's hear from Marcus Davis, who started out planning something big, but ended up doing something much smaller when he wasn't able to raise as much funding as he wanted to for his restaurant.
My name is Marcus Davis, Chief Steward of the Breakfast Club here in Houston, Texas. 20 years ago, when I started my business, I had this big goal, this big plan, this big dream with this big budget. And the trade-off that I had to make came when I only got 10% of what I was asking for or looking for in terms of funding, which meant that the construction budget was minimized, the staff budget was minimized, the marketing budget was minimized, which meant I had to build tables, I had to paint walls, I had to get in the kitchen, get my hands and stir the grits, make sandwiches, make plates, deliver every plate to the table. I had to go out into the streets, passing out flyers and pamphlets as a way of guerrilla marketing, simply because things had changed. But it made it better for the business because I got to put my eye on everything, I got to put my ear on everything, and I got to create and design the fabric of the business.
Eventually, with enough adjustments, the description of the restaurant will begin to make sense. It will become a description of a business that you believe will work, that still represents something that you want to do. After this, you'll make a spreadsheet to model how your business plan will look financially. There's a free template for a spreadsheet at the link shown now on screen. This helps you check that your plan does make sense on the numbers. And if your plan doesn't make sense on the numbers, it gives you an easy way to adjust that plan until it works. What's important is that the spreadsheet works with your plan and helps you adjust your plan, but it is not the business plan. It's also important to remember that while a business plan has to make sense on the numbers, numbers aren't the only point of a restaurant. As an entrepreneur, you get to decide what's important to you in designing your business other than revenue and profit. For Camilla Marcus, the chef owner of Westbourne, a restaurant in New York City that has now pivoted to an online business, businesses are above all about the people who work there.
Hi, I'm Camilla Marcus from Westbourne. Of course, balance sheets, your business plan, and profits are essential to keeping a restaurant alive and stable. But the business at the end of the day is really about more than that. It's about people. What keeps me up at night is how to take care of everyone involved, from our suppliers to servers to everyone in between. It's really about figuring out how to keep them professionally and personally fulfilled and developed. So at Westbourne, we really think of it as a dialogue and a collaborative process, not a monologue. I think being open-minded and including your team and your partners into the conversations around how they would feel motivated and how they would want to be excited and get out of bed every morning with the same passion and fire that the owner does. It's really about creating, I think, personalized solutions and ones that are a little bit more nuanced and with others in mind. So at Westbourne, we, for example, implemented an Embrace Your Side Hustle Fund, which is a monthly stipend that allows our team to take ownership and decide for themselves what would be enriching and rewarding for them to spend a little extra time outside of work doing something that will help their growth. Really, we bring our complete selves to work, and I think as the owner, it's important to balance profits and how the business is doing financially with how each and every one of the people that's involved in our village feels, both about themselves and about the work that they're doing day to day.
You now have the core, the most important part of a business plan, a description of what your business will be that works for you and which makes sense on the numbers. Business planning is nothing more than this approach of describing, reflecting, and adjusting how you think your business will work. Business planning can't guarantee that you will make enough money doing what you love, but it will give you a clear description of a business that does both of those things and helps you avoid starting a business that obviously doesn't work. Business planning is not a linear, straight line process. It will feel loopy and may sometimes be frustrating. But remember that all you need to plan your business is common sense and imagination to write a clear description of your business, and being willing to reflect on that description and adjust it until it works. Ultimately, business planning is nothing more than being realistic and honest with yourself about what you're willing to give up to get what you really want. Good luck.